excited to get started with this live and kind of roll out our little broadcast idea and see how you guys like it. So we want to say welcome.
Yes, welcome. And I'm Kirsten Womack from Move with Mac, and me and my husband have been on the road for 5 years, full time RVing. So I'm excited to be here with Erica and ready to talk about something that you don't hear a lot about when it comes to full time RVing. Everybody shows you the glitz and the glam, but what happens when health
When life
issues
happens.
strike?
Yeah, when life happens on the road. And so we decided to talk about this because we both have had the experience. So we're not just talking to just give some good advice that we research. We lived it. So we know what we're trying to convey to you guys, and we're hoping that you will find this information very helpful, very preventative, and that you could take some notes and maybe put some things into play that you maybe did not think about. I'm going to try to keep my eye on the chat. So if you have some questions, make sure you throw it in there, and we're gonna get some answers for you. So I'm gonna throw it over to Christian and see if she wants to go ahead on and kind of get started and get these claws kind of greased up a little bit here.
2021, we were traveling west to Vegas, which we just came back from Vegas. So this is our second or third, I don't know, Vegas round. And when we arrived in Vegas, I remember it so clearly. It was October 1st, 2021. And I really wasn't feeling too well. And as the morning went on, and once we arrived, I just felt horrible, but we didn't have any water. So my husband had left to go get water. And I just all of a sudden, just I don't know. It was like a feeling I had never had. I actually wasn't sure if I was having a heart attack or
Oh
a
my
stroke.
goodness,
So I
that
called my
is
sister who was a
scary.
nurse. Yeah, I called
That's
my sister
scary.
who's a nurse. Yeah. And she said it sounds like a stroke. So to get to the hospital, to call my husband, tell him to come back and get to the hospital going out, and they wouldn't let him get out of line. So we
That's good.
and so basically what had happened when I was in Alabama, I tore a chest muscle doing a kettlebell workout. And then I was self diagnosing and not taking my high blood pressure medicine. And between the high blood pressure and the pain, it was just all too much.
Wow.
And
Okay. We
thank
got
you,
somebody in
Franklin.
the chat. Christian, we got somebody in the
Yeah,
chat saying that the audio is dropping off. So, which audio is it? Is it mine or is it hers? So we know which one to fix. So if you could let us know that in the chat. Meanwhile, we're going to keep going. Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep talking so we can
oh,
hear yours. Okay.
oh, mine?
Yeah.
Huh, I'm not sure. I'm not, oh, okay. That might
It's
be
stable
better. I
now.
think I
It's
know
doing
why.
good.
Because I was holding my phone. I'm sorry.
That's
Is
okay.
that
Keep going. This story's getting
okay?
juicy.
So hospital back on, got the got the diagnosis that it was definitely the muscle tear, and then just the stress from all of the pain from it that it was causing me, and not being on my blood pressure medication because I had lost a lot of weight and I actually didn't need my blood pressure medication anymore. But then I had actually from leaving Alabama to going to Nevada. It took us like a month or two and we took our time, but I was not eating well, and that just triggered that blood pressure medicine being needed again. So there's two answers to this. Take your medication and take care of yourself when you're traveling, you know. But it was very scary, and I'm just glad that that hospital was right there. But I always try to, when we're pulling into a place, look for because a lot of times when you're on the highway and you're driving, you'll see the exit for a hospital. So I try to note that or note if there's a care center close because we were blessed to be right there on the base.
I can tell
So
you
that's
that
my story.
That is great, great, great advice, because of the simple fact is, when you're out and you're camping, or you're moving about like you guys were traveling, you never think about emergency situations. You just think, I just need to
Right.
get where I'm going. You're just thinking a tunnel vision of travel, and you're not thinking,
Yep.
okay, I need to see where there's an urgent care, I need to see where there's a pharmacy, I need to see where there's a hospital. And we decided to do this video for you guys, so you can kind of say, you know what, maybe I need to put together a list that when we travel, whether it's what medications you're taking, whether your next of kin is written down somewhere, because what if you're incapacitated and you can't tell anybody, right? So you want to have
Right.
a binder or something, kind of giving a little bit of history of who you are, just in case you can't tell them, right? And so my situation, we've been on the road. If you guys are new to the channel, I would love it very much if you would subscribe, and make sure you go over and subscribe with Move with Mac. And my situation is a little bit different. We've been on the road. This is our fourth year. And because I have panic attacks quite a bit, which they starting to subside a little bit, I'm always mindful of the nearest emergency room and stuff like that. But in this particular situation, I had made it through winter. No black ice falls, no snow, none of that stuff. It was a beautiful day the day before, and it happened to sprinkle rain that night, and just enough for the grass to be slippery and muddy. And if you know anything about grass, when you keep walking through the same path, it becomes very flat and slippery. And so I had dishes in my
Mm-hmm.
hand, and I was walking back from my sister's place to the camper, and I was going down a small incline, and I slipped, and my ankle went pop, and the dishes went one way and I went the other way, and it happened so fast, and I looked up just in time to see my husband driving away. And I was back there in the yard on the ground, and I was like, my phone was in the camper on the charger in my room. Okay, so I was outside with no plan, unprepared. And so I had to tell myself, okay, you're gonna have to crawl to the door and drag yourself up the stairs to the back room so you can get the phone, because nobody's going to find you back here anytime soon. He just left. My sister and her husband, everybody works, so nobody was home. Well, at least I thought. I didn't know that there was somebody home, but I was thinking to myself, I'm like, nobody's home. So I was able to call my husband, tell him to come back. That I'd hurt myself and I couldn't get out of the camper. So I couldn't put any weight whatsoever on my foot, because at the time I thought it was broken, and so did EMS when they came. And so I ended up having, just the way I got in, I had to crawl out, and then the guys helped me up and on a gurney, and then we had to go around the house to the front. And I was thinking to myself, boy, I don't have any backup plan for something like that. I was thinking to myself, I need to
Yeah.
do better with knowing that, okay, if I'm going out of the house, I take my phone with me, period, point blank.
Yeah.
And so that way, if something happens, I can call for help. And with my watch, I can call from help from my watch. So if I'd had my watch on or something, I'd have been able to do anything. And they have a way on the watch.
Oh, you didn't have your
I didn't
watch
have
on
my watch on
either?
either. And my husband set it up to where I could hit like this button, and it will call him when it's an emergency if I can't get to my phone. So I guess kind of knowing
Yeah,
those,
that's
yeah,
good.
kind of knowing those things ahead of time puts a little ease in your mind when you're going through it in the moment, right?
Yes, it does.
It gives you that mental checklist.
Yeah. Because there's actually over on our website at movewithmac.com, I have a link to a actual like medical binder. It's not a huge binder, it's a small one, so I'm committed even though it's been some time since it's happened. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I haven't. But this week I am ordering that binder and getting it filled out, because you never know what's going to happen and when.
Yes.
At least have that binder grab it and bring it to the hospital. He doesn't have, because when that type of stuff happens, you're not thinking straight. You have no idea what dose of what you're on when you're in the middle of an emergency. So that is, I'm getting that book ordered. And then it's a blessing because I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, so I was able to submit that. But even knowing that, even knowing before you go to a new state or a new city or a new area, knowing who in that area can even take your insurance, because you don't want to get stuck with the bill for being out of network and all of that. So being familiar with what your insurance offers is important too.
And I want to tell people, especially since sometimes we have solo travelers, not everybody is blessed with a
Hmm.
partner that can help. If you're traveling by yourself, and I put this in my book, and you could check out my book, is the RV lifestyle right for you? It's on Amazon. You can go over there and check it out. I talk about when you are traveling by yourself or with someone else, let people back home know where you are, right?
Yes.
So if you are headed west, even if you stop for the night, text somebody and say, "Hey, I'm in such and such a place for the night. I'll give you a call tomorrow." Right? Or, "Hey, I'm headed this way." Don't just go and then call people when you get there and you got the lawn chairs out and you made it to your destination. Let somebody know where you are, because in this day and age people do go missing. We don't like to talk about it. Stuff do happen. Somebody needs to know where you last were or what you were doing. Stop being so close-lipped at the RV park. If you just get to know one person, at least if something happens, you have a contact within the park, especially if you're going to be there a while. I'm not talking
Hmm.
about the overnight stays. You could pretty much maybe tell the person at the front desk, "Hey, I'm traveling by myself. I'm not feeling too good, and I just want to let somebody know
Yep.
that, and something to that nature." Because I've worked at campgrounds where a guy was on his way to us, him and his wife, and they had this huge motorhome, and he wasn't feeling good, and they stopped at the gas station, like a Love's, a block away from the campground, and the man went in the back room, laid down, and died. His wife thought he was just taking a quick nap. She thought he was just taking a quick nap. He wasn't feeling good. He laid in the back and died. And so she couldn't even drive the RV because it was one of those big class A's, the kind where you probably need a CDL to drive it. So one of the truck drivers had to drive her down to the campground, and her sons had to fly in and help her get back. So it's one of those things where we don't want to talk about it. You don't want to think like that, but these are necessary things when you're on the road. So, like you said, get that book and start filling it out. Have some contacts
Yeah.
where you're going. If you're headed to where family is, contact them and let them know. Keep a text message to somebody and let somebody know, "I'm not feeling good today. If I don't call you by such and such a time, call me." you
Yeah,
know
and I get people want to be private and all that. Everybody's like not wanting to tell people where they are and all that. Sometimes that's not good. And so you can also leave a message on your voicemail of where you are. I've arrived in such and such. You don't have to be detailed, but if you have voicemail on your phone, you can let people know I've arrived safely in the last place I told you I'm going to be, leave a message. And that way people will know that you're safe if they call you, and they don't have to keep calling and calling and calling and trying to get a hold of you. Because as we know, sometimes in the remote locations, you're not getting messages from people. You're
that's
not getting, your
true.
phone's not ringing or whatever. But if you leave your voice message as a message to let people know that you've arrived safely and you're okay, that's a good way to go about it as well.
And so I want to switch gears on and from the beginning on prevention and kind of switch gears to the back half of that. So what do you do once the situation has taken place? Right? What do you do once the medical emergency has happened and you're on the other end of that of recovery? And I learned a couple things that I would like to share with them, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to go
No,
first.
go
You
ahead.
know.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay.
No,
All
go
right.
ahead.
So one of the things I learned, one of the ladies was telling me, in certain areas, if you're a transient or you don't live there and you need certain kind of medical equipment, there are places where you can like sign it out and borrow it. And then when you don't need it anymore, you bring it back. And that's how they're able to help other people. So she was like, well, if you need crutches or you need some kind of home care stuff, they have different places. And this may not be everywhere, but you can always ask, do you have a medical loaner partnership with somebody? And they might be like, oh, yes, absolutely. We have a place down the road that will, give you whatever you need. And then you just bring it back so they can loan it out. Because not everybody has the room to start collecting potty chairs or crutches or or ramps or different stuff that you may need. You might be able to borrow it temporarily and then be able to take it back when you're feeling better. So that was one of the things that I learned, and I thought that was really neat to have that, so it can help service the community, because not everybody can buy equipment, or not everybody can go to follow up doctor's appointments and be able to get certain things that they might need. They have ways of doing that. That my partner here was talking about healthcare. No, in the city, if you don't have health care, follow up whatever health department that has a sliding scale. Take care of your health, right? Make sure you
Right.
have something saying, hey, this is what I bring in, this is what I'm able to pay. This is not you going and getting free stuff. This is you just going to places that have a sliding scale where you can follow up and not pay as much as though you didn't have any insurance at all. So those are things you can do when you're trying to follow up. If you're by yourself or your spouse doesn't want to leave you because you're really hurt, or you're really sick, you can always use Instacart and Uber Eats. They will go and pick your medication up for you. So you can get it to
That's
where if you get it at a grocery store, Instacart can go to the grocery store and get it. If you go through Walmart, Sparks has a program where they will deliver the medication right to the door. So kind of know about those different little avenues, because you might not feel well enough to get behind the wheel of the car, or your car is the whole house. It's
right.
your motorhome. Yeah. So you may not want to drive the whole motorhome to the pharmacy. So you can have those little
Right.
things where they can bring you soup, they can bring you your medicine, and you can kind of recover, as far as that concern, if you don't have anybody that can go and run those errands for you. So it was just a couple of things that I was like, okay, these are things you should know about and keep it in your phone, because you can do it from your bed, and make sure you tell people,
Hmm.
knock on the door when you leave it so I know it's there, and grab your
Right.
medication.
Right. And the other thing too is, when it comes to your health, like, let's prevent accidents. Let's
Yeah.
prevent what you could do for yourself is to stay active and eat healthy so we can try to prevent. We all know accidents happen. We all know people like me try to self-diagnose and stop taking their medication when they know they need to keep going. But that's, we do those things, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. And so we have to be prepared to for the consequences of our actions when it comes to our health and not paying attention. And so just taking our time, slowing down, especially a lot of people like rush from location to location to location. That's when people get hurt. That's when people's mix. Travel day, when you have a travel day, start packing the day before. Don't wait to the day of to pack and do all that. Just take care of so that way when you're riding, you're rested. You're not driving to the next location tired. You're not trying to see. That's what helps. I said, you know what? I'm really feeling a little tired.
You are breaking up
I need
something awful. You're breaking up really
prevention.
bad. You sound
Oh
like a
man, I
computer.
don't know why.
You sound like Roger and Zap.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better now, but it was more like
Oh my
but you know
goodness.
what?
Come on, you two.
This is real life and unfiltered, and we have to roll with it. Everybody
Yeah.
watching this knows that this is a part of camp life. Some days your connection is
Yes.
awesome, and some days you're lucky if you get a signal.
Yeah, because now you're breaking up.
Really? Oh my goodness. Can you hear me now? Is it better now?
And you're froze.
Oh, boy, I tell you.
You're frozen. There you go.
Okay,
You're back.
okay. So I if you unless we sitting in a house with a modem, this is just real life
Right.
unfiltered. But we wanted to.
Yeah. And it could, yes, Franklin, it could be the metal, but I've been on lives before and we did fine the last one. So it's probably,
Well, I am hoping very much that we could continue to keep coming with the topics that I think that are very helpful that people just don't think about. And I know that in the time when most people are traveling, they are doing it recreationally. Not everyone on the road in an RV is doing it, and living. And so when you live in an RV, you have to treat it as though this is your home, and every location you stop, if you stay there for a while, then you have to set up shop just so you can make sure you take care of yourself. Now, one of the preventions I want to give you guys, as far as those who just like to travel and do it during the summertime, are seasonal RVers, the ones that are only out during the summer. When you are going hiking and you're going and having fun, make sure you hydrate, because in the summertime, especially out in the West Coast and different places like that, people get heat stroke, and a lot of times they go on these hikes and takes these walks and stuff with no water. So make sure that you are packing yourself some water. You're hydrating a day or so in advance before you get out here in these deserts and in these mountains on these hikes and stuff of that nature. So make sure, a lot of what people start feeling sick is because of dehydration, a lot of it.
yeah.
Your symptoms
Yes, it
start
is.
with you not having not enough water, and then we don't realize how important that is, and it starts to trigger other things and cause other things to happen when you just needed some more water. I get like these killer headaches if I haven't had enough water. Right? So it's one of those things where prevention small, yes, small things. Get you some water, keep you a water bottle. You know you want to be outside, you know you want to have a good time. Put down the soda, put down the beer, and swig some water, and make sure that you're staying hydrated. And that will help a lot. And I'm telling you that because when I went to the hospital, they had a hard time getting it to my veins because she was like, "You're very dehydrated." And I was like, "I know, I'm guilty of that. I don't drink enough water as I should." And so those are some of the things you want to be clear, because no water makes you dizzy, makes you lightheaded. That could cause a fall, you know, all kind of stuff can stem from that. So we just want to reiterate that now that campus season is coming up, these are the things that are not so pleasant, but we still need to discuss and prepare for. And if they were
Yes.
to happen, make sure that we have a plan in place. Somebody that's back home, that if you need somebody to come out and help you or drive you back, can come. If you are
Yeah.
in another city where you don't know anybody, and this is where church family for me is very important, because I go and then I meet people and then I have somebody I can call, whether it's just pastor,
Right.
to come check on me or whatnot. Maybe the situation. So it is very, very important to slightly plug yourself into communities, just because you never know, right? Especially if you're a
Right.
sickly person. Sometimes some of us know we sickly,
Yep.
then you want to make sure that you are putting some things in place to where you're not stressing your family out back home, and you're
Hmm.
not stressing yourself out on the road trying to get help. And I think that's a wonderful idea, to grab that book and my name, my next of kin,
Yeah.
my medication. If I'm unresponsive, my keys are right here or something to that
Right.
nature. Please call such and such. I'm diagnosed with such and such. And that will help a lot to save your life versus
Yes, it
them exploring, trying to figure out what's wrong with you.
Exactly. And if you don't feel good, stay in your RV and rest. It's
Or
okay.
go on to the hospital if you already know
Yeah.
that you're not
Yeah,
feeling
well, a
good.
lot of people try to fight the not feel good, like they know they don't feel well, but they don't want to get left out. Sometimes you just got to get left out and take care of you, you know?
Yeah.
And I know that's especially if you're like a weekend or whatever, and you might get there and you're not feeling good, you still want to push on, but maybe it's just not worth it. Just always check in with yourself. Now, is my feed better? I
Yes,
changed
it
the
is
set.
perfect.
Okay, good. I changed the setting while we were talking, so hopefully that helped.
Yeah, yeah, you're crystal.
Good. Good. Sorry about that, y'all. I should have checked that before I got on here.
Oh, it's
But hey,
okay. It's
you
okay.
know, but hey, that's part of life. We're not perfect.
And so I'm gonna go to the chat. If there's anybody that have any questions they want to ask, now is the time to go ahead and drop that in there. If you have any questions for Kirsten about her experience or about mine, or maybe just some things that we didn't talk about that you've been thinking about, you can drop that in there, and just let us know because we need these to be informative and helpful because that's the whole point of them. So if you
Uh,
have questions, we want to be able to answer them the best we can. Or maybe you might let us know something we didn't know and we can add it
right,
to what we're doing, or at least
right.
check it out and get back in contact with you. Now, if you'd like
Yeah.
to know our stories in detail, can tell them where they can find your story because you write a blog.
Yeah. So over on movewithmag.com, you can find the whole blog post. It's the most recent one, so you'll see it. But that's Move with Mac, MACK, MOVEWITH movewithmac.com, and that's where our blog is. That's where the most latest post about the health issues or medical emergencies. And there's also a link there to the book that I'm talking about getting and some other devices. Like if you know you have high blood pressure like me, keep a cuff in your RV so you can take your blood pressure if you're not feeling well. If you don't have one, there's a whole recommendation list I have over on the blog as well. Always have a first aid kit and not just band-aids and that type of thing. Have some tweezers, some scissors, some there's this thing called the bug bite. Got it's a bug bite thing where you put it on your arm and you if you get bitten excuse me, you're getting bitten by a bug, you can put that on and pull it back and it'll pull out anything that the bug shot into you.
Wow,
It's
I
called the
didn't
bug
know
bite
that.
thing.
Yeah, that's good information. I didn't know that.
I'll actually update that blog post and put that in there and put a link to that as well because that comes in handy. Yeah, you like push it down like a shot and then you pull it out and it pulls out anything that's gotten injected into you. So that's another thing you'll want to add to your first aid kit, to have. So there's first aid kits and then there's like survival kits and even a survival kit will work. It's a first aid kit on steroids. And that's also something to have emergency food because you never know.
Yeah.
So those are just things like when we first started out, I didn't really we had the first aid kit and then I met somebody camping who had the bug bite thing, which that's
Uh-oh, we lost you.
need to re up. I do need to re up some supplies, but other than that, I think I'm good.
Well, we'll put a link, you guys. We're going to put a link below in the description to her page, period. And you can be able to find the blog and all the information and stuff she's talking about. And I'll put a link to my blog because it's on my Patreon page. And I usually post everything there. I use that like a website. So you can also join my Patreon page and it has all my information there and a blog from my experience of having this as well. Now we have a question in the chat and it is from Mr. Franklin. He says, do you have an app to help you locate medical facilities as you travel? Do you have one?
No, I don't have one, and I don't know. My husband uses RV Parky. I don't know if that includes hospitals on its calendar or not because he uses it. But I don't have one. But that's an excellent thing to do. I appreciate that. I'm gonna look for one.
I know that a lot of times whenever we're traveling and I put the directions inside of the map, if we needed it, I can search along the way. right? So I could put in
Mhm.
hospital, and it'll show me whatever medical facilities are along the way in my route. So say if something was going on in the car and we needed to head to the nearest ER or emergency room, you could put ER along the way, search along the way, and it'll show you the next ER that will be 5 miles or 20 miles or whatever, and then route you directly to where that is. And sometimes you might need to sit put, like call them and have them come to you if it's easier to be able to do that, or you're not able to continue to keep driving. So, but that's a good idea, and we're going to be looking into it. He also had a question for those that are considering RV life. Is it smaller, under 25 foot, better as one thinks about an RV pad and size?
So it's not so much about the RV pad size, it's about what you're going to be comfortable with because most parks have all different sides. They'll ask you how many feet. They've got some sites that are made smaller. So if you have a smaller rig, they'll put you in one. We are in 24 feet. We've been in 24 feet for 5 years. That's very, very small and it works for us, but it may not work for you. So you really have to figure out what are you comfortable with. First of all, what are you comfortable with giving up? Because you're going to give up something with that space. The more space you have, the more amenity you have. Are you comfortable with not having a bedroom door or do you require that? 24 feet and below, you usually don't have a door on the bedroom. That's all. Like right now, I'm in our living room, kitchen, bedroom, and bedroom. The only
All
thing that has a door
inclusive.
is the bathroom. So
It's
that's
all
something to
inclusive.
consider. Yes. And then the tool he uses, Franklin, is called RV Parky, Parky.
Yes,
Wait,
you
what? Yes,
definitely
you
have to
have to
give
give
up
up your
some
stuff.
stuff. Now we're in 25 foot, and we do have a door. We have a separate bathroom, and we have a mini living room. And so my question is, what are you looking for? Are you looking for an RV you can drive or an RV you can pull? So
Right,
that's going to play into it too. So if you want something you can drive, then the measurements that Kirsten was talking about would probably work because hers is a drivable. Mine is
right,
a travel trailer. So your truck will dictate what you can pull. So
right.
as far as the size is concerned, what are you pulling it with? That'll automatically eliminate a lot of stuff if you have just a basic F-150 and it's not a V8, right?
Yeah, that's going to
Now,
eliminate a lot.
yeah. So if you are and then my other question is where are you wanting to travel to? Because as you get into national parks, you're right. The slab is very small and they want you to fit trailer and truck on the slab, right?
Right,
But when you're going to uh RV parks, like she said, they will accommodate the size. Just know the bigger the rig usually costs you more to park it, and there's less spaces because a lot of campgrounds are mom and pops. They used to be. Somebody bought them. They're in the middle of upgrading. They don't have a lot of spaces to accommodate a 40-foot, tractor trailer RV, all the time. And a lot of campgrounds have a lot of 30 amps, but few 50 amps. And in the
right,
summertime, you might want to run both ACs, and you may not have the amp power to be able to do that. So that, like she said, you have to decide what you're willing to give up because you're going to give up something, right? You're going to
right.
give up either the size, you're going to give up some stuff, you're going to
Some
give up
storage
tow
space.
capacity. Yes. And so that's why I always recommend people go to an RV show or go to an RV parking lot and just meander through all of them and get a good feel of what is available to you at the price range you're comfortable with, because that's another thing. Your money will dictate what you get as well. Now, we
Right,
started off small because you need to make sure that you're invested and you're all in. But as we
right.
kept going, we realized what creature comforts we needed and we upgraded slightly, right? We just kept upgrading slightly. So all those things come into play and it's different for everybody. So there's no one definitive answer. You just have to kind of make your checklist of what you can live with and what you can't live with, and then go visit. Just walk around. Just take a Sunday where you're just going in and out of all of them.
Yeah,
You
even
know,
ones that you don't think you'd be interested in, like you think, oh, that's too small, or that's too big. Go in it anyway just to see and get a feel for it. And also, I have a digital guide that kind of covers some of this too. If you go to movewithmac.com and click on RV resources, I do have a digital guide that kind of talks about how to pick what you want. But it's basically up to you and your budget and your comfort level of driving. So Franklin said, I want to drive my RV and tow a small vehicle with me. So now, when you talk about towing a small vehicle, all
That's a
vehicles
whole
are
nother
not
ball game.
towable. That's a whole nother thing of research, and that's in that guide as well. So it's just not as simple. Like some people, I see people say, I'm going to go buy an RV, and they go and they do that, but then they don't have anything that they can use because they didn't understand that weight is involved, how much your truck can, tow is involved. And a lot of people will say, well, I have my SUV, and they said that my SUV can pull it. When you see a lot of those videos of RVs crashing, flipping, turning around real fast that are being pulled, look and see what they're being pulled by. A lot of them
Ooh,
are being pulled by SUVs.
that's true. And keep in mind, not all vehicles can be towed, right?
Right.
So you
Most.
want to make
Most
sure,
can.
yeah, you want to make sure that whatever vehicle you are towing behind the RV is towable, because you can tear up your front end, right? Your
Right.
transmission or your motor or whatever. You want to make sure that whatever it is you are pulling behind it is a car that is towable. And I know people do Hondas a lot because they're pretty decent cars, but Toyotas, I heard, are not the best in being towed behind, like little small cars being towed. And then
Yeah,
how
we
you
had a
gonna tow it? All wheels
yeah.
off the ground or just the front two wheels? So
Yeah, you're
it's
going to get a trailer to pull it up on, which means that's more weight that you're adding to the pulling because every RV does not pull the exact same weight. So we started with the Fiat 500. Then our grandkids said, "Pep, pep, I'm getting too big for this car. I can't fit back here."
then you
So
have
we
to,
now so we now have a truck and we're happier because the truck expanded our storage. So now our
yeah.
e-bikes fold and they fit in the back of the truck. So yes, Frank, there's a lot of research and I know Erica has a book as well. So, you
And we
know,
don't want to discourage you. That's not the
right,
goal.
no, there's
We
just a
just want
lot
you
to
to be
know.
well informed, because if you go off head cock, you're going to hate it, because you're going to
Yes.
get halfway down the road and have so many issues, and it will eat into your finances and your travel. And it's just, I just want you to leave confident that you've done the best research you can do, and you're comfortable with what you're towing, what you have, and that you can experience the experience that you set out to have that adventure. And so
Yes.
now is the time to kind of be poking around. And if you haven't bought your RV yet, me myself personally, I would buy it outside of camping season towards the end, like the Octobers and the Decembers when they're stupid cheap, versus the beginning of camping season when the price starts to go up a little more because they know you're
Mhm.
anxious to get out and get going. And it's just
Mhm.
a lot of things you just take into consideration, and it's gonna work out. As long as you are
Yes.
doing your due diligence, it's gonna be fine.
And stay connected with people like us that have been out here more than a weekend. We've been
Yes.
I've been out here we've both been out here 5 years, so we kind of had some experiences, good, bad, and otherwise. Good, bad, and excellent, I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
But
yeah.
and this is a community. Anybody that you approach that has an RV, 9 times out of 10 is gonna be happy to help you because they wish they would have had someone like themselves to help them when they got started. Because it
And
is
they're
all
going to be
about community.
curious. They're going to be
Yep.
curious. And so
Yep.
they're going to want to come by and chit chat with you. Just be kind, because we try to
Yeah.
keep a kind community. Everybody kind of get along. Everybody's in the same boat. We all need some help at some point. You might be able to go over there and help them wheel in the awning because it got away from
Right.
them because the wind blew. So
Yeah.
you just never know. And so kindness is always the best response to things, even when you feel like people are being nosy.
And they
It's
will be,
time.
and that's people. They
Yeah.
will. Well, we can. That's one thing we can guarantee you. People will be nosy. But you know what? I'm almost to the point. Is it really nosy, or is it just a curious way to strike up a conversation that they don't know how to start?
I
That's
think
how I'm
both.
starting to look at it. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
both.
I was just trying.
They
I was just trying to smooth it over a little bit. Yeah, they nosy.
it's, they're curiously nosy, and then and then
Yeah,
they
that's
just
a good
want
way
to
to put
talk.
it. Curiously nosy.
And
Yes,
so it's
yes.
all good. It's all good. And I'm excited
Yeah,
for this
it is.
this campus season, and I can't wait to see what comes up and what new adventures we have. And I can't wait to see your new adventures and all the wonderful
Yes.
places you're gonna go and
Yes,
all the
we're
things
gonna.
that we'll be able to
Yep.
share.
Yeah, we're going to be here for a little while. We're actually leaving because remember, medical emergencies, medical
Yeah.
health emergencies. We're actually taking a medical trip, but it's not an emergency. My
Oh,
husband's
that's
with the
good.
VA, and he's been seen in Birmingham, he's been seen in Nevada, and he's been seen in Florida. And Florida has definitely been the best for him. So we are going to pack up and go down to Florida and do some appointments and next week we're going to be heading down to Florida and do some medical care, and that's our home state anyway, so that all works out and we can see our family and do some things that we need to do. But yeah,
Yeah.
so we're getting our appointments. We could have like canceled and said nah because we were here, but no, we need to be up on it, so we are going to Florida to go ahead and get the appointment done.
And that's how you prolong the adventure.
Exactly, exactly.
Yes.
Because we thought about, should we? Can we just? Is it something that can wait? But no, there's no reason for it to wait. What else do we have to do, right? But
Yeah,
take care
that's
of
true.
ourselves first.
Yeah.
So
And
that's what
and
we're gonna
Florida's
do.
a beautiful place. There's stuff to do there. They have some pretty cool state parks,
Yeah, they
because you
do.
guys got your bikes and stuff, and it's they got some pretty cool trails that you could take and relax and have a good time and some adventures while you're there. So that's
Yep.
nothing to sneeze at. It's a that's
No,
a
I think
that's a
we'll be.
fun Florida.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be at Patrick Air Force Base, and that's a beautiful base
I know where that
right there on the
is. My
banana.
uncle was there. I know where that
Yeah,
is.
well, that's where we went to when we first started. We were stayed there like 4 or 5 months when we first started because it was our first stop. We had to make sure everything was. It's just so funny how it changes over the years. It used to take us forever. Took up the car. Now it takes him by himself like 5 minutes. In the beginning, we were doing it together, and it was taking like a half an hour. But you learn. And we just wanted to make sure we were doing it right. And again, we were back to taking our time. There's no rush in this lifestyle. When you start rushing, that's when things start happening.
Yes, yes. And starting out having a checklist is not a stupid thing.
No,
That way you can make
no,
sure that you're turning stuff off that need to be turned off, that you're unhooking things, that you're not forgetting things on the ground that you unhooked and drove
you're
off,
right.
and now you get to the next place and you got to buy it again, because RV supplies is not cheap.
No, they're
All
not.
right, they're not cheap at all. So if you forget that cord to plug up the house, you're spending 50, $60 on another one, especially if it's a specialty cord.
Yeah,
And so it's one of those things where, like you said, it's okay, take your time. If the next day traveling is going to be hectic, start preparing the day before, and take your pills, take your medicine. Go for your walk around the RV park. Get your exercise, get to know your
yes,
neighbors, enjoy your life by
yes,
taking care of your health so you can
yes,
prolong your adventure
yes,
and prepare for the
exactly.
worst. That's it. That's all we're
Yes,
saying. Prepare for the worst, have things in place so it's not a traumatic experience all the way around, that it can be a smooth bad situation that you can bounce back from quickly and have the help you need when you need it.
yes. Yes, exactly. So, Eric and I have decided we're going to try to do this on a more consistent basis, a regular basis. And so, Erica, you want to share with them what we're going to be talking about next month?
Next month we're going to be talking about how to pivot, what to do when you have to pivot your plans, because a lot of our lifestyle is kind of have a planning component to it. But what happens when life shifts your plans, and how to kind of move with that and come up with some plan B's when you need to, and being flexible when the time comes to have to pivot. So we're just going to be talking about how life throws curveballs at you and what we've been doing and things we've learned as full-time RVers that may help you in your everyday life, regardless of the situation, if you face the same thing out here on the road.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to that. And if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, tell us in the comments. Let us know. Share with
Please.
us. Even on if you're watching this on the recording, still let us know. I mean, we
And
don't know
comment
everything.
below.
Yes,
We don't know
comment.
everything. Tell us
Right.
what you do. You might come up with something
Yes.
and we're like, man, that's a
Yes.
good idea.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah. You
might be
may
able
become
to,
a guest one day on here. We might
yeah.
interview you. So, yeah.
And we can incorporate that into what we're doing and then kind of roll it out and be like, hey guys, we got this wonderful idea from so and we want to share it. So make sure
Yes.
that you guys are subscribing to both of the channels because
Yes.
these are two separate adventures, but you're getting lots of information, lots of different types of traveling. So you can see how they travel, you can see how we travel and live vicariously through our adventures, that maybe you can plan your own adventures, and we want you guys to stay safe out there. So,
Just
what's your closing words?
my closing words is take care of others.
Exactly. And you guys, it's nothing wrong with making sure you have a contingency plan. Okay, we're not, that's not jinxing the trip, that's just being prepared. And we just want you guys
Yep.
to have the best adventure you can have with your family and not stress out your kids, whether they're big or small. And that's one other thing, if you're traveling with small kids, make sure they know where the binder is.
Yeah.
If they need to help you, make sure you say, if something happens to mommy or daddy, give them this, you know. And so we just want you guys to be prepared. We love y'all and we appreciate
Yes.
y'all very, very much. And
Yes.
subscribe to our channels, follow our
Yes.
journey, and
Yes.
we will see you on our next broadcast, you guys. And
Yep.
we just want to say thank you so much for joining us. And we hope to talk to you soon. Give them your exit words of wisdom.
You're so funny. So my exit words of wisdom on this topic is I'm going to get my book, I'm going to fill it out, and I'm going to be prepared. Please do the same.
All right. And on those notes, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining. Sorry about my mic.
It's okay. Real life.